Infinite scroll has become a staple in many award-winning websites, but creating a truly seamless experience is often overlooked. After diving into some research, I realized there are barely any videos out there that show you how to implement a real dynamic infinite scroll from scratch. Sure, you might find a basic few examples scattered online. For instance, I came across this GSAP forum post with a couple of demos. However, they weren't quite there. They had some limitations. A proper infinite scroll should let you move smoothly in any direction right from the start. But these examples often force you to scroll in one direction first before activating the reverse behavior. Take a look at this website. It recently won Award Site of the Day, and for good reason. The infinite scroll here is stunning, complete with snapping behavior and even parallax image animations. This caught my attention right away and I knew I had to recreate it. After spending some hours breaking it down, I managed to replicate the entire experience. Everything from the parallax effect, where images move at different speeds than the content, to the snapping behavior that locks a project neatly in the viewport when you stop scrolling. The best part is, I didn't use any libraries. No GSAP, no ScrollTrigger, just pure HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. In this video, I'll walk you through how to build this experience from scratch. We'll use a virtualization technique that maintains a dynamic buffer of DOM elements around the visible content. By tracking the scroll position and cloning template elements on demand, we'll create a smooth, performant, infinite scroll. If you find my work helpful, consider leaving a like and subscribing to support the channel. It really helps me create more content like this. And if you'd like to access the source code, check out the Pro membership via the link in the description. Alright, let's dive into the code. We'll start by creating a container that will act as the main wrapper for our infinite scroll experience. Inside the container, I have added an unordered list with the class project list. This list will serve as the parent element for all the project items, which will generate later dynamically using JavaScript. For ease of styling and to establish a structure of our dynamic content, I have included a sample project template within the project list. The template contains two columns. The first side div holds the project's title and its index. For now, I have added a placeholder content using h1 tags. The second div contains a placeholder for the project image. This is wrapped in a div with the class image, and the image is set with a source pointing to a sample image. With this structure in place, we are ready to move on to styling. I started by resetting all the margins and paddings to 0 for every element. This ensures a clean slate across browsers. I also set box sizing to include borders and padding in an element's total size. For the HTML and body, I set their width and height to occupy the full viewport. I applied a custom font for a modern look and disabled scrolling by hiding the overflow. Next, I styled the images to fill their parent containers completely while maintaining their aspect ratio. I scaled them slightly larger than their containers for a better parallax effect and optimized their position for smooth transformations. The container is fixed to the viewport, ensuring it stays static as we scroll. It spans the entire screen in both width and height, acting as a frame for all the scrolling content. Inside the container, I styled the project list to be absolutely positioned. It spans the full width of the viewport and is optimized for frequent transformations, making the animation smooth. Each project occupies the entire viewport in width and height. I used the flexbox layout to align the title and image side by side. The projects are positioned independently, allowing them to move dynamically during scrolling. The side sections within the projects are styled to take up the equal halves of the project layout. One side contains the project title and index, while the other holds the image. I made sure to hide any overflowing content for a clean design. For the image wrapper, I ensured it fills its designated area completely with overflow clipped to maintain a tidy appearance. Finally, I styled the project titles to be uppercase with a bold font size and slide letter spacing for a slick and modern look. I added some padding around the text to give it breathing room and ensure it stands out. With this styling complete, we are now ready to move on to the JavaScript logic to bring this infinite scroll experience to life. First, we'll make the template remain hidden initially. It will serve as a blueprint for dynamically generating project elements with JavaScript. We'll start by defining the project data. I have created an array called project data that holds all the details for each project, including the title, image URL, and whether the layout alternates between the title and image. To help us with animations, I have included a lerf function. This function performs linear interpolation, which smoothly transitions a value from a starting point to an endpoint based on a given factor. We'll use it to achieve fluid animations for scrolling and parallax effects. Next, we'll define two key objects, config and state. The config object contains all the adjustable settings that control how our scroll behaves. I've set the scroll speed, which determines how responsive the scroll feels to user input, the lerf factor to control the smoothness of the scroll transition, scrolling without delays. The cleanup threshold ensures that elements far from the viewport are removed to optimize performance and memory usage. The maximum velocity is capping how fast the user can scroll to maintain control and smoothness. Lastly, the snap duration to specify how long the snapping animation takes when the user logs onto a project. Next, the state object tracks all the dynamic aspects of the scroll. The current Y holds the current scroll position, while the target Y is the position we are aiming to scroll to. The last Y stores the previous scroll position and helps calculate velocity or detect directional changes. The scroll velocity keeps track of how quickly the user is scrolling, ensuring smooth animations. We'll also track whether the user is actively dragging using the flag. If they are, the starting touch position is recorded in start Y. To manage our dynamically generated elements, I've created maps for projects and parallax images. These maps let us store and easily update individual project data and animations. The project height is set to the viewport height, ensuring each project fills the screen perfectly. The snapping logic is managed using variables like snapping, snap start time, snap start Y, and snap target Y. These control when and where the scroll snaps during interactions. We also keep track of when the last scroll occurred using last scroll time. This helps us detect when the user has stopped scrolling. Lastly, a scrolling flag is used to monitor whether the scroll system is actively in motion. Together, config and state form the backbone of our infinite scrolling system, providing the rules and real-time data we need for smooth and efficient animations. Next, we'll create a parallax effect for the images to give the scrolling experience more depth. The create parallax image function manages this effect for a given image element. First, I initialize bounds, current translate Y and target translate Y. The bounds help define the position of the image on the page, while the translation values track its vertical movement during the parallax animation. To update the bounds of the image, I use the update bounds function. It calculates the image's top and bottom positions relative to the scroll position. This ensures the animation remains accurate even if the image moves or the window is resized. Next, I define the update function. This handles the parallax animation by adjusting the image's position based on the scroll value. I calculate the relative scroll position by subtracting the image's top bound from the current scroll position. This value determines how much the image should move. The target translate Y is set to a fraction of the relative scroll position, creating a subtle parallax effect. The movement is smoothed by interpolating between current translate Y and target translate Y using the lerf function. If the difference between current translate Y and target translate Y is significant, I apply transformation to the image. This moves it vertically and maintains the scale for a dynamic effect. The update bounds function is called initially to set the bounds, and the function returns both update and update bounds for later use. Next, the get project data function retrieves the project details based on an index. I use a formula to wrap the index within the bounds of the project data array. This ensures that regardless of the input, the correct project data is returned, making the scroll experience seamless and infinite. With these functions, we have the foundation for dynamic parallax animations and project data management. Next, to dynamically generate the project elements, I created the create project element function. This function takes an index as its argument and first checks if a project at that index already exists in the map. If it does, the function exits early to avoid creating duplicates. Next, I select the template element from the DOM and clone it to create a new project. I set its display to flex and remove the template class so it can be styled and displayed as a regular project. To determine the project data for the given index, I calculate the corresponding data index by wrapping the index within the bounds of the project data array. I then retrieve the project details using the get project data function. The project number is calculated based on the data index and formatted with leading zeros for consistency. The project's inner HTML is dynamically set depending on whether the layout alternates between title first or image first. If the project alternates, the image appears on the left and the title on the right. Otherwise, the title comes first, followed by the image. I position the project element using a translate by transformation based on its index and the height of the viewport. This ensures each project is placed correctly in the scrollable list. Once styled and positioned, I append the project to the project list element and add it to the map for future reference. If the project includes an image, I create a parallax effect for it by using the create parallax image function and store it in the state map. The create initial projects function generates an initial buffer of projects to fill the viewport. It loops through indices based on the buffer size defined in the config and calls create project element for each index. The get current index function calculates the currently visible project based on the scroll position. It rounds the negative state target y divided by the project height to get the index. The check and create projects function dynamically creates and removes project elements as the user scrolls. It calculates the range of indices needed based on the current index and the buffer size, adding new projects if they don't already exist. For the projects that are far outside the visible range, it removes them from the DOM and deletes their entries from the state, projects, and parallax images maps to optimize performance. Finally, the get closest snap point function determines the nearest snapping position by calculating the scroll position of the closest project. It rounds the negative state target y divided by the project height to find the index and returns the corresponding position. These functions work together to dynamically manage the lifecycle of project elements, ensuring smooth and seamless infinite scrolling. Next, the initiate snap function begins the snapping process. It sets the flag to true and records the current time as the snapping start time. The starting and target scroll positions are also captured, with the target being the closest snap point, calculated using get closest snap point. The update snap function handles the snapping animation. It calculates how much time has passed since the snapping began and determines the progress as a percentage of a total snap duration. I use an easing formula to make the animation feel natural as it progresses. The target position is interpolated between the starting and snapping points based on the progress. Once the snapping is complete, the flag is set to false and the scroll position locks onto the snap target. The animate function is the core of our scrolling system. It runs continuously using request animation frame to update the scroll position and manage snapping and animations. If the user is not actively interacting, the function calculates whether the scroll is near a snapping point. If the difference is significant, it triggers snapping using initiate snap. If snapping is in progress, it updates the position using update snap. When no snapping or dragging occurs, the scroll position is smoothly interpolated using the lerp factor to create a fluid scrolling effect. The function also ensures all project elements are properly positioned and update parallax animations for the images. Next, we handle user interactions like scrolling and touch gestures. The handle wheel function listens for scroll wheel input. It prevents the default behavior, updates the scroll timestamp, and adjusts the target scroll position based on the input kept by the maximum velocity. handle touch start function detects the scroll of a touch gesture. It sets the dragging flag, records the initial touch position, and resets snapping to allow free movement. The handle touch move function calculates the distance the user has dragged and updates the target scroll position accordingly. The handle touch end function ends the dragging interaction by resetting the dragging flag. The handle resize function recalculates the project height whenever the window is resized. It repositions all the project elements and updates the bounds of Parallax images to ensure everything stays aligned. Finally, the initialize scroll function sets up the entire scrolling system. It adds event listeners for scroll, touch, and resize events, initializes the project elements, and starts the animation loop. When the DOM is fully loaded, we call initialize scroll to activate the scrolling behavior and ensure all elements are ready for interactions. This combination of functions create an interactive infinite scroll experience. Hope you found the video helpful. See you in the next one.